He's not.
I'm sorry.
He's not looking.
I'm looking now. Welcome to Expression in Painting by Paul Crimi. Tonight I brought back the painting I did the last show, the birch trees. I've finished it. I've worked on it probably a week and a half, 2 weeks maybe. I kept going in and fooling with stuff. You can tell that it has a real nice depth. You feel like you're present in the painting. That's what I love about this black background. It's intriguing. You don't know. You know it's not night, but it's probably late afternoon. Excuse me, and it has this real quietness. I did put some green in the background to give it a little more entry into the woods. I like the feeling of this. I've done a series of these paintings, probably maybe even 100 of them, and I'm intrigued with every single one. They all have their own personality. They make you feel present. I've done a whole bunch of them with a lot of yellow and a lot of yellow on the bottom. There's some yellow in this. The different feeling than the ones that are really yellow. The background's all yellow too. It just feels like a different time. And I also brought another painting that I've been working on for a couple of years. I'm intrigued by bottles because I see them as vessels. I see them as spiritual. I see the light coming through them. And these are very, very pastel, and they're very soft. And I have these bottles in my studio, and they're on this shelf in front of these windows. And I see them all the time, and I see the light coming through. I've done two or three paintings of them. And, one of them was with crayons and watercolor and then acrylic. This is just acrylic and Caran d'Ache crayons. I love the feeling of the bottom of this particular painting. It has the stripes from all of the light coming through, and you feel it's a warm day, and the vessel part is that we're all filled with the light of God. That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, I have a lot of spirituality in a lot of these paintings, but I don't go around talking about it too much. But this particular painting, it's called Earthen Vessels, and it's a scripture line. And that's what we are, earthen vessels. Okay, so tonight I decided we had a little choice here. So I showed the producer and the director and the camera people, and we picked this particular paint photograph. It happens to be a place in Florida, Sarasota, Florida, and it's a gorgeous beach. My granddaughter's down there right now. She's going down to see her other grandparents. And I'll show you the photograph. It's a little photograph. I'll show you the photograph, Bob. It's a little photograph of, I'm trying to think of the name of the beach. I already told. What's Siesta Keys? Siesta Keys has the best sand of any beach in the world. It's won first on the best sand on the beach at least 3 or 4 times. And it's absolutely gorgeous. The sand is so beautiful, it doesn't stick to your body. I don't care if you're soaking wet and you walk through the sand, it doesn't stick to your body. So I'm going to put this up here and we're going to get started. Hopefully we can get some of this down. I might add a little water in the background. This happened to be just a photograph of the path. I'm going to use the photograph as a reference, but not as the guiding part of the painting. So we'll start. See, I've always used photographs to do stuff that's realistic, but I don't always copy them. I use them as a stepping stone, and then I go from there. Well, let's get this thing. I start with the black canvas, as you notice. I like the black canvas because I feel that the color is intensified. I got this silly brush, but it'll do. I wear out my brushes, and I should replace them, but I get so used to them that I don't like to really change them too often. They have to be really gone in order for me to change them. We just had an open house at our building in Rockland. Very successful, quite a turnout. We've been doing it for 20 years now, so a lot of people look forward to it. I mean, it's funny. It's always the week before Thanksgiving, and always 2 weeks before the Thanksgiving we have people come out. I had a ton of people in my studio the week before that, and I'll probably have a bunch this weekend. they always get confused. They can't figure out it's the week before or not the week of. But I'm there 7 days a week most of the time anyway, so it's not a big deal for me. I'm not going to leave the sky as plain as the picture. The picture's like, oh, no personality whatsoever. You got to put some clouds in there. With some real nice feeling in it. But I'm just going to do this till I get this covered. And then afterwards, we'll let the lights dry up. Oh, there goes some. I do a nice job on the floor, I'll tell you. The place I did in Norwell, they made me put down a plastic mat so I wouldn't get the paint all over the place. Now I had Bob and Ian come to my studio. They were there for the open house. Nice to see. And my friend Dr. Jones, of course, came with her son. Great. He did a nice taping. It's fantastic. That's personality this doctor has. She's great. She had a little surgery and she's recovering, and I thought it was a little too soon for her to be doing this, but she's got a strong will. She's a doll. All right. I'm doing the water. I'm going to put the water in. And I'm not going to do anything in a hurry because this painting could be done in a half an hour, the sketch, and then I got to fool around with it for an hour. So I'm trying to go, and it's my personality is to go, 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 go. So it's to get me to slow down. It's impossible, really. So I just go at the pace I go at, and then I'll try to kick back at the end and slow it down. And I want to show you how it develops. I'm mixing a bunch of colors here. This grass is really burnt. See what this looks like. Yeah, not the right color, but that's all right. So don't take yourself so serious. I have so many people come up to me during this open house and say to me, oh, I'd love to be able to paint, Paul. I'd love to be able to paint. And I keep telling these people, if you love to be able to paint, paint. Because 99% of painting is the desire to do it. If you have the desire to do it, you can do it. It's a state of mind. You know, I've been saying this ever since I was a little kid, that if you desire to do something, you can do it. But people, they start off with saying, I can't do it. And when they say that, that sort of puts a stop to what they want to do. I don't know how else to say that without sounding silly. But anything in life you can do if you set your mind to do it. You just got to do it. Say, why did that look so orange? Well, it's just starting. It won't be orange as I get into it. All right. Let me see what size brush. Okay. So we're putting down different colors to give it that texture and the feeling of a pathway of this exciting grass, the water in the background, and then we'll do the clouds. Just slow myself down here. See, painting is looking at something and then attacking it, just going after it. You're in charge. You don't have to copy the photograph. You can do anything you want. Photograph is a place. It's a beginning. It's the starting point. But you're in charge. You can make it any color you want. See, that grass is starting to look like it's all burnt. Now I added a lot of orange. I'm throwing some texture in there. It'll start to come around. Probably use a smaller brush to add the detail. But I'm not doing the detail. I'm just blocking it in. I'm just putting down some shades. Then I'll do the detail later. Painting can be a lot of fun. You just got to get it in your head. You're not going to take it so serious that you're going to throw the canvas across the room. You know, everybody thinks that they're going to be doing great paintings in the beginning. It takes a while. You know, I've probably been painting over 61 years. I don't get frustrated anymore. I really don't. I just say to myself, well, I'll make it better when I do this. And I do make it better when I do this. I mean, some of the paintings I did when I was young, I've painted 4 or 5 paintings on some of the canvases, kept painting them over and over and over. And I liked those, don't get me wrong. They had personality. They had a lot of paint on them, that's for sure. I spent all day trying to find a photograph. I could not find a photograph that got me excited today. I don't know. After these shows, I get so low-keyed down that it takes me a while to get back up. There's so many people that go through and, you know, they don't know what they're thinking and they don't know what they're saying and they don't say anything or they say something and, oh, who knows. I don't get high or don't get low on these things. I just sort of stay at the same level. A few years ago, it used to bother me that people didn't say anything. And then I said, well, it's like anything else. Some people have a lot to say and some people have nothing to say. So we'll keep putting this texture to the sand. Hopefully it starts to make some sense. I did see a woman in the building who did some beach scenes with snow on it, and I really thought they came out really nice. She sold quite a few of her works too. Doesn't have very much, doesn't charge very much. That's why she sold a lot. And her stuff is nice. She spent a lot of time painting. So let me step back and take a look at this, see what I'm doing. Oh yeah, this is going to have some personality. My foreground's a little dark in this corner. I'll just change that a little. I have people come up to me that see the show. They tell me all the time. One minute they're looking, and the next minute they turn around and the painting's in another place. And I says, yeah, I don't waste any time. I keep moving it around and making it come to life in a certain way. They say that they're intrigued by how quickly it shapes up. And I said, well, you know, I've been painting since I was 7 years old. And when I was 12 years old, I had a doctor at the Children's Hospital write a letter to the museum to a friend of his, introducing me, and they let me go over there on Saturdays. And I was real young, God. But it blew my mind. I said, this is where I want to go to school. I love this atmosphere. And I did go there. Yeah, every year until I was 40, I wanted to go back to college. I never lost that feeling. I wanted to go back, and there's something about art school that I loved. I loved the feeling and the atmosphere and the attitude. Didn't care much for high school or junior high. Didn't care much for teachers. Because I think that I was a right-brain kid, and I didn't fit into that left-brain society too well. And you know something, and to this day, I'm wicked stubborn. Oh, God. I will not bend about what I want to do and how I want to do it. And I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but that's the way I was when I was a kid. I had a certain mindset about what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. And you came and you looked at my work. I tried a lot of different things. I was never just happy with one particular thing. I think at art, there's so much to do, and you should be able to do it. You should be able to try it. And you shouldn't let somebody tell you what you can do and what you can't do, or what you should do. That's why I don't care much for teachers. Sorry to say that, but it's true. Teachers have their point of view. I had a problem with one of the teachers with my daughter Ellen when she was in grammar school. The teacher told her she couldn't do her trees blue. Well, I marched down there and said she could do any tree she wants, any color she wants, and don't you ever correct her about it. And she didn't know what to say to me. She had never had a parent come in and raise hell about her telling a student that they shouldn't paint a tree blue. I says, go look at a Van Gogh painting. Go look at paintings where people have a lot of emotion. This is starting to have a feeling now. It's starting to look like the photograph somewhat. I mean, I'm liking it. It takes a while. That's why if you have a kid that is right-brained, see if you can get him into some kind of program where it's art or music or acting. You know, we all don't fit into the mold. We're not all made the same. And society is built, the school system, for left-brain kids. And right-brain kids have a difficult time. Unless they can go to a school that's that kind of thing is, I know I talked to that lady upstairs that does these beautiful little paintings, and she went to a school like that, where the whole school was around the art program and what she wanted to do with her life. I don't think Massachusetts had anything like that. So, in order to do something like that, you had to be strong-willed and say, this is what I want to do, and stick to it. All right, so I'm going to go back here and see and let this dry a little. I think I'll stay away from that. I'll go back to the sky. We'll fool around with the sky, give the sky a little more personality. And throughout the years, I was a hairdresser for 43 years. That was my other business. I found that to be creative. I thought that was a good way to make a living and do what I wanted to do besides making a living. And I'd run into parents and they'd talk to me about their kids and that, and I'd say, well, stick up for them because they know what they really want to do. Sometimes you can't force a kid to do, or a high school kid to do something they don't want to do because of not in their personality. It's a shame. A lot of those kids drop out of school and they could be helped if they had the right kind of people around. I think they're more willing to listen to them today than they did when I was a kid. I don't know. Okay. Good. I guess got hired by a friend of mine. They got this beautiful house they built in a local town, and it's a 7,000-foot house. Gorgeous, gorgeous house. They've been building it for 2 years. They asked me to come in and paint the ceiling in the bathroom because they love my cloud paintings. So would I come in and do it? I said, oh yeah. So I spent 4 hours standing in the tub, getting in and out of the tub, laying down in the tub. He came in when I was working on it and I'm laying down in the tub. And he says, are you taking a break, Paul? I said, no, I'm trying to see what I'm doing. I brought 5 or 6 paintings of clouds so that she could get an idea and show me what particular cloud she liked. And you lay down in the tub like that so you get the same feeling when you're in the tub like that laying down, what the person's going to see when they're in the tub laying down. Oh my God, funny. So when you're doing the clouds, don't try to do clouds. Just keep making the colors move around, and you'll start to see these beautiful soft clouds show up like they're doing now. How did I learn how to paint clouds? I spent a year painting nothing but clouds. The whole year. That's all I did. I must have did, I don't know how many paintings, probably 500 paintings. In the first 50 of them, I sold like hotcakes. Unbelievable. Everybody was falling in love with them. I tell people, if you want to do something and you want it to work for you, you got to do a ton of it. I think the harder you work at something, the more success you're going to have in anything in life. That's what life is. You want to be good at something, you got to really work at it. Don't take it for granted. I think the blue is a little too dark for the water, so we're going to change the water. Okay. See if we can bring back some of that water now. Need the cards. I know. Time goes by so fast in this. When you're having fun like this, like somebody says, you know, they say it all the time, and it sounds like, you know, do what you love and love what you do. Well, it's true about everything in your life. You come and you look at my studio and it's got all these paintings and people say, my God, you spent the whole lifetime doing these. And I says, I did. And they didn't see the stuff I have put in the drawers. As many paintings as I have on the wall, I have 10 times more of the papers in the drawers of all of the prints because I had my own etching press. Oh boy, a little green in there. I gotta add some white. Let me get some white out. I brought it. I had it somewhere. Let me see where I put it. Oh, there it is. All right. And you know something, if you're going to paint, don't be afraid to use the paint. Now, I get crazy with people. They're stingy when it comes to the materials. Buy the best paper, buy the best canvas. Go to Michael's or what's the other one, AC Moore. Get the coupons offline or get them out of the magazines and try to buy the best canvases and the best paper and you get the best results. You use cheap products, you get this. There's not the same. You're not going to get a really good feeling in it. And I recommend when you're starting out, try to use top quality material. That's what I'm trying to say. Use good quality paint, good quality canvas. Because you might paint something nice, and if it's on junk, you're going to be sad. I got in trouble in high school. I used up so much paper, they weren't going to give me my diploma until I paid off the bill for the paper. So what happened, the Ledger ran an article about it, and a lot of the kids came to school with $1 and bought these prints, and I managed to pay off the bill. That's how, I mean, so I've always been prolific, even when I was a youngster. My mother was incredible. She had a job at the bargain center, and she used to get me all the art supplies when they'd come in. I think she spent her whole check. She was unbelievable. Drove my father nuts. Don't encourage him. Italians. I think you got to encourage kids. I know I encourage my daughter and my grandkids. They come to the studio, they have a good time. And I don't believe in teaching them. I believe that you give them the product and let them express themselves. Let's see if they can develop their own personalities. It's one of the reasons why I do this show. You know, I've been painting, like I said, since I was 7. And I didn't meet very many artists in my younger years. A lot of artists, never got to really meet them. The people you met that were artists were the teachers. And some of those teachers, oh my God, you could see why they taught. You see their work. But they say that about teachers, that if they were good at it, they would be teachers, they'd be artists. Not that I'm making fun of them. Some teachers are great because they build up your personality, but some people want you to do what they do, and that's not teaching. So you're getting an idea how you do these clouds. You just keep applying the paint and keep moving it around. Keep it wet, and all of a sudden they'll start to have really soft, beautiful movement. And people dump a stack of white on the canvas and they rub it, they think that's a cloud. Well, not really. Clouds are constantly moving. There's always this soft movement in the sky. Let me step back and see what I've got here. I'm trying to think. Must have forgot it. My reducing mirror, I was looking for it. I use it all the time. If I don't use it all the time, I sit in my rocket, oh yeah, this is starting to have a nice feeling. Really nice. All right, let's go back. Get some of those. Maybe I can make that sand a little more alive, just a tiny bit. Now you got to realize I'm only sketching this if I get it to the studio and then I really work on it and it comes to life at the studio. But on TV, when you have an hour to do a show like this and you don't have a way of drying it, I mean, if I was in my studio, I'd have my hair dryer and I'd be blow drying this, or I'd sit in the chair, let it dry for an hour, and then get up and paint again. But I was showing Bob and Ann my rocking chair, this fabulous old Mission Oak rocking chair that I've had for 40 years. A friend of mine got it at an auction, and God, I spend more time on the chair than I do painting, I swear. It's really comfortable, and it takes me someplace every time I'm sitting in it. I do a lot of meditation, a couple of hours a day. Build it up, take your time, keep putting these little tiny strokes. I use gesso with my paint, and I should talk about that more often. It gives it a nice feeling. There's something about it that I really like the way it looks and feels. It gives the painting an oil look. People are shocked when they when I tell them that I do acrylics, because it don't look like acrylics. Not that I'm trying to hide anything. I just like the way it looks with this. I started doing it about 20 years ago, and I've been doing it ever since because I love the way it feels. And just keep putting this stuff on and on and on until it gets a nice texture to it. People have always asked me if I use a palette knife, and I say no, I just use a lot of paint on the brush. And I keep going over it and over it and over it until I get that build-up. And you stand in front of a Van Gogh and it's like, hits you in the face. Pissarro was the same thing. I was looking at a Pissarro painting today. He was one of my, Camille Pissarro was one of my favorite impressionists. I loved what he did. And he wasn't afraid to try all these different things. He tried pointillism, he tried it all. Loved it. He's the one of the artists that encouraged Van Gogh. One of the older masters of Impressionism. I saw a show of his at the museum when I was a kid. It took my breath away. God, I loved it. When I wasn't a kid, I was a young man. I had a couple of kids. I think I had 3 or 4 kids. We went to the museum, my wife and I, and had the stroller with one of the little kids. It took about 6 hours. Oh, exhausting, waiting in line. The Van Gogh show was like that, too. Oh, worth every second. Every time they have it, I go. Never get tired of looking at his work. Talented. So you just keep putting the paint on. Hopefully it builds up to a point where it starts to look real. And it has that feeling. And you feel like you're walking through the sand to get to it. I'm going to step back and take a look again. And, you know, you get so involved in what you're doing, you get lost in it. You got to be careful so you keep looking at it. I had my reducing mirror. See, what I wouldn't be standing here this long if I was in my studio. I'd go sit in my rocking chair and look at it for about a half an hour, 15 minutes, then get up and go back and charge at it again. Keep going back and forth, back and forth. But this show is an hour, and it goes by in a blink of an eye, you know, and you really have to apply yourself and keep your mind in that state that it's going to work, it's going to work, it's going to look great. Let me take a look. Oh, yeah. Boy, really does feel like you're going down to the beach. Don't be afraid to put paint wherever you feel like it's going to give it some more personality. Because you're in charge. The picture's a picture, but you're in charge. You can do what you want. I mean, photograph's only a stepping point. You take it where you want to take it. I like what Bernard said. Bernard said he'd go to his place, he'd look at everything, get it in his head, and then go back and paint without taking pictures or making any images, and just using his own imagination. One of my favorite post-impressionists. I loved what he did. And see, I've studied these people. I've looked at their work. If you came to my studio, I have a fabulous library of all these old artists, every one of them. Matisse is another one of my favorite artists. He was a great colorist. I have Picasso. Picasso I thought was a little too full of himself. I like the abstract artists, too. I have a ton of their work. A lot of different artists. I've looked at many artists. I love the Renaissance artists. I love Michelangelo. I love Da Vinci. Oh, my God, that Sistine Chapel rocked my world. I laid down on the floor. Police come running over. Sir, you can't lay on the floor. I want to see this the way you're supposed to see it. People walk around with a little mirror in their hands, looking at the mirror at the ceiling. And you really like, you can't get the power and the color. I laid right on the floor and I looked up and I said, this is what I waited for my whole life. That was in '95. I don't know how old I was then. But I'm never going to grow up. Always going to be this little kid who gets excited over great work. The Uffizi Museum, oh my God. After 5 floors of Renaissance art, I had enough Renaissance art after that trip. Man, I don't think I looked at any Renaissance art for a few years after that. I saw so much of it. We went to all of the museums, all of the churches. Oh, Italy's magnificent. You got to go someplace, got to go to Italy. There's so much to see. The history and the buildings. And I felt like an ant in Rome. You walk around Rome and all these buildings, God, even more so than I did when I was in New York. You're starting to see, you're starting to feel the flavor of the painting now. I mean, all of that grass and all that stuff, it's really coming to life. Now it's got some, I don't know what kind of flowers. Oh, this is the post. It's got some really funny flowers, little speckers like, you know, I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'll put a few in. Make it easy. Got to throw a few seagulls in here. Ian loves seagulls. Likes what I do them too. So you stick a flower in like this. A little dab here. You know, I'm not trying to paint the flower, I just, a little tiny, all of a sudden it's there. Some on this side too. You really want to get wild too, you can stick a few of those, I don't know, what, beach roses? They're little pinky reddish things. I love them. I have a whole bunch of paintings I did with those things in them. Every time I do them, somebody buys them. They really love them. So you stick a few of those in. So it adds a little more personality to the painting. Don't have to do a lot, just a couple here and there. Maybe some over here too. Getting there. Let me take a look. Can you see the size of the brush? I use this big brush to do the sky, and I use this little tiny brush to do all the detail. And it really has some beautiful detail. I'm not done with that corner. There's a lot I want to do, but I want it to dry some. Let me see if I can put some of that texture in here. It's so black you really can't see it, but I'm going to still do it. I'm going to still put a lot of texture in. What you do to get it that dark is you take cadmium red and you mix it with the dark green, and you get that real darkness. Gives it the depth, makes the canvas have some feeling. Good, really liking it. So you are in charge of the painting, like I keep saying. You want to change some of it or make it do something, just do it. I always get excited, you know, when I'm painting it like this on TV, you seldom see the quality of the work because of the lights and everything. And all of a sudden, they shut the lights off and I look at it and I say, wow, I didn't do a bad job. Because I know what I'm doing doesn't mean that I understand that how it's going to look when the lights are on. There's some kind of dried green stuff, orange stuff, dirt, I don't know, some kind of dried leaves. I'm going to try to put some of those in here. They have a real orange kind of feeling, burnt. All right, let's take a look. Oh, nice, really nice. Oh, let me see if I can get this brush clean. I need a touch of black. Oh, good. Oh, that's purple. Some artists don't use black. Doesn't bother me. I use it. It's one of my favorite colors. It's all colors. I just want it for the tip of the bird wing. All right. So where you position the seagull is very important too. I want to make sure I have the brush as clean as I can get it. All right. I might have got a little carried away with that black. Let me see if I can add a little more white. Nice. And then a tiny bit of orange for the feet. And the beak. Maybe we'll put a couple more in. I don't know. See how they look. Could add a couple of shells. Here's some. So you just keep working, you just keep putting things in it, and all of a sudden, you know, it starts to take on a life of its own, hopefully, and it has a very quiet, serene feeling. I want to fix the bird. I think the bird needs a little more body. Black feet. 3 minutes. Oh, this is where I get a little wild when there's 3 minutes left. Oh, watch out. Oh, see that? I did messed up. Okay, I'll fix that. I just got to put a tiny dab. No, I'm not happy with that. So I usually have a tiny, tiny brush to do this, but let me see if I can do it with this. In a second. We're running out of time, and I'm just going to do one more thing. Probably should let it dry, but I'm going to fool around with it. All right, 1 minute. Okay. I'm going to let it dry, and then I'm going to fix it. So we did this picture. I'll show it to you. Put down the brush. Right now. Okay, so we started with this little photograph, and it's a beach scene from Sarasota, Florida. We worked on it. We got this beautiful, quiet beach with this walkway. I think it came out really nice. I want to say God bless and good night.